Hello, this is Dr. Hobble, and I'm going to help you with this problem. It says 1 meter is about the same amount as 1.1 yards. Trey says, my dad is about 1.8 meters tall. If I measured his height in yards, it would be more than 1.8 yards. So we want to find the true statement. Here are my statements. The first one for me says, Trey is correct because yards are larger than meters. The second option says, Trey is correct because meters are larger than yards. The third statement says, Trey is wrong because meters are larger than yards. The fourth statement says, Trey is wrong because yards are larger than meters. So we have two things we need to decide. First, is Trey correct or is he wrong? And second, what's the reasoning? Is it because yards are larger than meters? Or is it because meters are larger than yards? So let's think about that second part first. Let's try to figure out the relationship between meters and yards. So when it says 1 meter is about the same amount as 1.1 yards, that means the ratio of yards to meters is 1.1 to 1. And that's like saying for every 1.1 yards, there is 1 meter. Or for every 1 meter, there are 1.1 yards. So if we have 1 meter, I can draw a little tape diagram. If we have 1 meter, that's the same as 1.1 yards. So since we can fit more than a whole yard inside 1 meter, that's going to mean that meters are larger than yards, because we can fit more than a whole yard inside 1 meter. Whereas if we just had 1 yard, so we shaved off a little bit from the 1.1 yard, we wouldn't even have a whole meter. So the first thing is that meters are larger than yards. So let's focus on those two responses. And now we need to decide, is Trey right or is he wrong? So his dad is about 1.8 meters tall. So if he measured his height in yards, should it be more than 1.8 yards? Let's think about this maybe with a table. So I'm going to make a table down here. Where we have meters and we have yards. So we know that 1 meter is the same as 1.1 yards. So Trey is saying that his dad is 1.8 meters tall. So 1 times what is 1.8? Well, any number times 1, or 1 times any number, is just going to give you that number back. So we know that's times 1.8. So if we thought about that height as being in yards, we would need to take 1.1 and multiply it by 1.8. And right now we're not too concerned with what that actual answer is. We're just wondering, is that going to be more or less than 1.8? And since 1.1 is going to be bigger than 1, we know that 1.1 times 1.8 is more than 1.8 because it's more than just 1 or 1.0 times 1.8. So his dad would be more than 1.8 yards tall. So that means that Trey, his statement when he said, my dad is about 1.8 meters tall. If I measured his height in yards, it would be more than 1.8 yards. That's correct, because you're going to need more yards to make up for those meters. We would have 1.1 times 1.8. So Trey here, he's correct.